Go.
Lights, camera, fractions.
All right, very nice. So we're going to talk today, this is our first lecture in truly what is Algebra 1. And it starts out fairly basic and fairly easy. And I think you'll all get this pretty well. This is actually part 1 of this lecture. We're going to talk about adding and subtracting positive and negative numbers. The reason it's part 1 is because part 1 is going to be specifically focusing on the easy way of using a number line. But there will be a time when the number line is not as useful. Okay, there will be a time when the number line is not as useful as another approach. So part 2, maybe tomorrow, we'll be talking about that other approach and starting to look for patterns as mathematicians. But for today, we're just going to use this number line. And so if I gave you a positive number or a negative number, we would want to be able to figure out how to combine them. That's what we're talking about, is combining numbers. Now, a lot of times we think, like when you're first exposed to this, because most people, I think most of you have been exposed to it, but I know not all of you have. But in real life, it's kind of hard sometimes to imagine something negative. Like if I have 3 apples and somebody takes away 5 of my apples, that doesn't make sense, does it? It makes totally no sense at all. I have 3 apples, somebody takes away 5 apples, how many apples do I have? I have -2 apples, right? That does not make sense, right? That is completely illogical. It is totally unrealistic.
But in other words,
Where is it realistic, though? Where is it logical? What kind of topic would this be logical in?
Like at a bank, if you withdraw
At a bank?
money, you can take like more than you have, and then you have to pay it back.
What is that called when you take more than you have? Does anybody know?
you're in debt.
You're in debt, right? You're actually borrowing money, right? I have $10 in my bank account, probably fairly accurately, and I need $12. So I take all of my $10 and then I borrow $2 more. How much am I worth?
-$2.
So Tula, I'm worth -$2. I'm not even at 0 because I have to pay back those $2 before I'm at 0. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So with money, this kind of topic is really radically important. Okay, so we're gonna, anyways, we'll talk more about money kind of as time goes on. But for now, we just have to understand how this all works. So if a number is positive, well, first of all, let's start at the beginning. Always start at 0. So this is the first thing. Actually, I'm going to write them over here so I have a place. So number 1, always start at 0. Okay? Uh-oh, is this on there? Always start at, lovely. Always start at 0. So I can't go past it. Okay? 0. Sorry, I do my Z's like that because Z's look like 2s. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If I'm writing them fast. And then 2. If, positive numbers go to the right. And that sort of makes sense, you know what I mean? As you're counting on a number line, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, you go to the right, right? 3. Negative numbers Is that okay if I use that abbreviation for numbers?
Yeah.
Go to the left. That's all you need. That's all you need to solve these. It's like a GPS or something. I mean, you know, you're going this way and then you're going this way, 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 or this way, or this way, right? Depending on what the problem is. If I said 2 plus 5. I know that's a hard one, right? That's a hard one, but I start at 0. If that's my first problem, this is my first problem. 2 plus 5. I start at 0, and I go to 2. So it's positive, right? It's positive 2 because there's no negative. You guys all know that, right?
Yeah.
The only time it's negative is if there is a negative in front of that number, right? There's no negative in front of that number, therefore it's positive. So I got to go to positive 2. That's to the right. Positive always goes right. So 1, 2. So this is where I'm starting. I'm starting right here. Okay? I started at 0, got to 2, and now I got to go positive 5 more. I've got to go plus 5, right? So I've got to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I put the dot there. This is my final answer. What number is that?
7.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
7.
So this is equal to 7. All right, so whenever I ask you 2 plus 5, you always say it is 7. Right? Pretty easy, right? All right, let's try another one. All right, 6 plus 3. All right, very, very hard problem, right?
Yeah.
So I start at 0, and I see my first number is 6. So I go over to 6. It starts, okay, so I'm right there. And then it says I have to go positive 3. You with me? So I go 3 in which direction? To the right. 1, 2, 3. So this is my final answer. What is that number? 9. So 6 plus 3 equals 9. I know several of you have wanted to know that answer for years.
Yeah.
And now you know. And I have proved it using a number line, right? Okay. Now, I'm just because I want to, well, actually, I'll leave those up for a second. Okay. So now I'm going to do this one, number 3. All right, what if I did negative 4 minus 6? Negative 4 minus 6. So suddenly, are there any positive numbers in there at all?
No.
No. So which way am I going to have to go with both of them? Left, right? So I'm going to start at 0, and it says the first thing is I have to go to negative 4. So I go 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the negative 4. So this is really where I'm beginning, right? And then it says minus 6, right?
No. Plus or negative 6.
In my brain, I don't like to rewrite it, but this is what your brain is starting to do, or my brain is starting to do. I see negative 4, and then I say the word and negative 6, right? And another way to write that mathematically is this: negative 4 plus a negative 6 in parentheses, all right? So this and this are exactly the same thing. They look totally different, but they're exactly the same thing. It tells me that the negative belongs with the number. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Right? And so I don't like to rewrite it like this. Personally, I find this easier. Personally, I do. You know, if you find that easier, you're welcome to rewrite it that way. But what I do is I take this concept and I keep it here, I use this concept, and this is how I verbalize it in my head. I say negative 4 and negative 6, and becomes the plus sign. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Negative 4 and negative 6. And if I'm thinking about it, negative 4 is going this way, negative 6 is going this way, what am I going to be doing? I'm going to be adding the numbers. Am I right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So I got negative 4, I got to go negative 6 now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So my answer is right there, which is negative 10. Where am I? Negative 10. That's interesting. Okay? So, pretty easy, right? Pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Like, not hard at all. And then 4. Let's try another one like that. Negative 2 minus 12. Okay? Well, I'm going to think of it as negative 2 and negative 12. The negative belongs with the number, right? Does that make sense? So, negative 2, I start at 0, I go to negative 2. I'm right there. I'm going to go now negative 2 and negative 12. So I got to go negative 12 now. Negative 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That is negative 14. Fist of 5. You guys getting this? Making sense to you guys? Right? Awesome. Okay, now, when both of the numbers are positive, I'm always going to the right. So I can just add them, right? And the answer is positive. When both of the numbers are negative, I know I'm going to go to the left for both of them. So I can just add them and keep the negative. You agree with me?
Yeah.
Right? So that's awesome. So what if I gave you, okay, can I erase these? Okay. So what if I gave you this? If I gave you this, for 3, 4, or 5, we're in 5, right? Okay, what if I gave you this? -3, -5, -2, -6. What would I do? What do I know about my pattern that I just practiced? I know, yeah, on the number line, I start at 0, and I've got a -3, and a -5, and a -2, and a -6, right? And so, they're all negative, right? So what does that mean, Bo?
So that means you just like add them all up and count backwards.
Okay, exactly. So I know, is the answer going to be positive or negative?
Negative.
Absolutely, because I'm not going positive anywhere. I'm going negative. I'm going to the left. So I'm just going to add them up. 3 plus 5 is 22.
No.
I'm sorry. 3 plus 5 is what again? 8. 8 plus 2 is 10. 10 plus 6 is?
16.
So my answer is -16. Now, if I use the number line, I would have just done, go to -2, and then, -3, over here. And then I would go over 5, and then over 2, and over 6, and I would have gotten -16, right? Pretty easy, right? You may notice that the problem with this, and that's why it's only part 1, is I'm not giving you things like this. I'm not giving you things like this. Right? I'm not giving you that yet, because if we use the number line for these, I could. You want me to use the number line?
No.
Let me do this. Okay, I just start at 0, and I just have to go over to -465. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, wait a minute, guys. Give me another 2 hours. Just a second. Right? It's not going to work. It's not practical. So tomorrow we're going to talk about a way to do it that's practical, right? That always works, but doesn't have to use the number line precisely. I do always, though, use the number line in my brain in this way. Are these both negative?
Yeah.
Okay, in my brain I'm thinking, okay, I'm going -4,000 something, and then -2 million and something, right? I can see I'm going always to the right, so I know I'm going to add them. So my brain's saying, oh, yeah, add them, right? Yes, Sachi.
Also what you could do, like if it's like a little bit more of a simple number, you can make each line have a bigger like gap. So it could like instead of each line meaning 1, it could mean
Like you could do 100, 200, 300, 400, or 1,000, or a million, 2 million, 3 million, 4 million, right? So there are things you can do like that, totally. Okay, so what if I gave you this, then? All right, 5, 6, right? 7. Are we on 7 or 6?
7.
7, okay.
No, which one is this?
So what if I gave you this? What if I gave you this? -7 plus 10. Okay, here we go. Now suddenly, what do you notice that's different about this problem than the other ones, Erica?
It has a positive number in it.
It has a positive number in it and a negative number, right? They're different. When they are different, you're actually taking the difference, finding the difference. What does difference mean? And what operation does difference mean in math? Jack? Subtraction, exactly. So we're doing that. But first of all, we're going to use the number line. So here's 0. We start at 0. We go to -7. That's right here. And then what do?
Subtract.
Well, yeah, forget that. I've got -7, and now it's plus 10.
You have to go to the right.
I have to go to the right. Right, Leah? Yes?
And
So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We're right there.
The rest was 3.
So the answer is 3. That make sense? Yes.
So,
Guys,
could
hey,
you write
guys,
that?
there's too much side talking.
Like if you made like a problem like that, could you make it like super long? Like could you do like -7 plus 10, and then you could do like
Let's
plus
do it. That's a great
46
question.
minus 87 plus
So
320,
negative
like,
2
you know, like that.
plus 6 minus 5 plus 3 minus 8. Let's do that. Okay? So this gets complicated now. Don't you agree with me?
Yeah.
I mean, it would be a little hard to do this. You could do it in your head, but it would be a little hard, right? The number line can be very useful
-6.
for something like this. There are tricks, and we'll talk about those tricks tomorrow. But we'll for now, we're just focusing on using the number line, because the number line always works. You know, with the exception when you're dealing with huge numbers, you know, you don't have the time to do. It would work. It's just that, you know, it would take you a rather long time to draw your number line for when you're talking thousands and millions, right? It would take quite a while. So Gavin and then Harrison.
I got the answer to that impossible
This is the impossible question?
No, number 6, 4,200.
Oh, yeah.
And the answer is.
It'll just take you
Wait. Let's hear what the answer is.
The answer is 2,504,887.
Excellent.
right.
Good job. I'm assuming that's right.
Yeah,
That sounds about right. That sounds about right. Okay.
Wait,
Okay, here we go, guys. Stay focused. So here we go. We start at 0. We got to start at 0. Leah, what do I do? Where do I go from 0?
Where do you go from 0? You go left 2 times.
Okay, -2. And then what do I do with this one?
You go up 6 times.
Okay, up meaning to the right?
Yep.
So, okay,
So-
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, I'm right there.
Then you go down 5 times.
Okay, down means to the left. So
Yes.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm now here.
Then you go up 3 times. Oh, sorry. What?
Yeah.
Oh.
So I'm right here where that circle is. And so I got to go to +3. I got to go +3 now, right? So I got to go 1, 2, 3. So I'm right here. Okay, and then I got -8. Right?
Then you go
So I got to
left.
go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So what's my answer?
-6.
-6. Always works. It always works. Now, can anybody think of a strategy to make this simpler? Okay, I'm just curious. Zubin.
Well, what I was thinking is like if we just split this up, like can like put parentheses around the 2, the -2, and the +6, then it would be like it's just like that's one problem.
You mean like this?
Yeah. So if we just
Okay,
just
so that's
just
certainly
look at
one
that
way.
for now.
Yeah, okay.
And then if we think about like the 6 is a bigger number and it's positive, and then the 2 is a smaller number, so it's positive. I mean it's negative. So if you take the +6, it's bigger. You keep the positive sign, and then you just subtract it. If they have
All right.
opposite numbers, you keep the sign of the
Okay.
bigger number, and then subtract
Right.
the smaller number
Good.
from that, and then
Good. And we are going to cover that. We're going to talk about that in great detail tomorrow. So that's good. Good notice. Yes.
Well, I would add all the negatives and add all the positives, so we just have 2 numbers.
That's interesting. What if we did that? What if we kind of just added this plus this plus this? Because we already know that if they're all negative, right? They're all going in one direction. We're just going to add them. Does that make sense? We're just going to add them and then keep the negative, right? So let's do that. And then let's do that first. So -2 and -5 is 7 minus 8.
No, plus negative 8.
I mean, excuse me, 7 plus 8. What is that?
15.
15. So -15, right? You guys all agree with me?
Yes.
And then what do I do with the pluses? Oh, we can't do this because look, there's 2 pluses in there. It's not going to work anymore.
Why not?
What do you do? Tula. We came to a roadblock. There's nothing we can do. Tula.
Because I know what to do with like both of them, but like not together, but if like separated the minus
Yeah.
and the plus, and then just like answer those 2.
Oh, so we could actually combine these 2, right?
Yeah.
All right, what's 6 plus 3?
9.
So I could say negative 15 plus 9.
Yeah.
Oh, now that would be much easier to use on my number line. Because I would immediately go down, I'd start at 0, and I would run over to negative 15, and then I just add 9, right? I'm here, I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, and my answer is negative 6, right? Beautiful. So that's another strategy. That's awesome. Just the 5. Are you guys understanding these strategies?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So Gavin, you had something, and then Harrison, sorry. Gavin first, and then Harrison.
A way to kind of simplify it is to kind of reverse like all the negatives or the minuses. Think of them as positive. So like if there's 2 plus negative 2 plus negative 5, you would add those together. So that would equal 7. Add a negative symbol next to it. It's negative 7.
Right.
And then let's say it's plus 6. You think of it like minus 6 because you're switching things, and then that would.
Okay, maybe. Possibly. Okay,
That's how I got
and Harrison?
I may be looking too far ahead. What if we had a number like maybe negative 6 to the 5th?
Oh, sorry. Yes. Thank you so much. Anybody else? Sorry. That's a great question. Negative 6 to the 5th. Well, just quickly tell me, what is that? Negative 6 times negative 6 times negative 6 times negative 6 times negative 6. Quick!
21.
No. So yeah, that's a good question, but that's really more talking about exponents, right? But because when you're talking exponent, it is a good
Well,
question.
exponents are a good strategy to use.
Yeah. But like exponents, this is really not, doesn't totally relate to this, because negative 6 to the 5th, you said, right? If I wrote it like that, actually, it would be the same number, the same answer, even if I wrote it like this.
What if you had like a positive 5 to like the negative 2nd?
What if I, well,
Harrison, you're confusing me.
so just remember, what this one means is this. This one means this. A negative, and then 6 times 6 times 6 times 6 times 6. That's what that means, right? What this means something very different. This is what this means. This means something very different. You're going to get exactly the same answer, only because the exponent is odd. But this is what this one means. It means negative 6 times negative 6 times negative 6 times negative 6
Could you also do 6 to the
times
3rd?
negative 6. So this strategy could work, Harrison, if I had a bunch of, but the only thing is these are all times. See what I mean? And we're talking about adding these, right? So, because when you're talking about these with exponents, we're really talking about multiplying. So that's not a strategy that's going to really work so much for this, okay? So, Sachi, but it's a good idea.
I'm wondering, like, with exponents, when it's a negative exponent, does that mean, like, dividing kind of by itself multiple times, or what is
I'm going to confuse people if I answer that. But see me after class, and I'll answer that question for you. Because that's a great question. It's a very interesting answer. Okay, so I think you guys get it. I think you guys are ready to do this. Now, what if I gave, what number am I on?
8.
8? 9? Okay. All right, here we go. I'm gonna make it look more complicated, okay? Just so that I'm sure you guys can figure this out. What if I had this? Negative 2 minus a negative 4 plus a negative 3. What would you do? There's a trick in here. And what do you notice that's different about this than any other problem I've given you?
Ooh.
Okay, Harrison.
May I just say what it means?
Yes.
So there are 2 negative signs next to each other. That means that you have to add.
That is a problem. I mean, if you see a negative parenthesis negative, that is a problem. That actually moves into actually multiplying positive and negatives, which we haven't talked about yet. But how many people have heard of that? A negative times a negative equals a
Positive.
positive. Now, I'm sure some of you have not learned that yet, and that's okay if you haven't.
I have.
But a negative, and parenthesis always means what?
Multiply.
Multiply. Therefore, this is saying literally negative times negative. And we all know now
That equals positive.
that equals positive. So I'm going to actually rewrite this as negative 2 plus 4 minus 3. Is that good? Do you see how that's the same thing as this? Do you guys all see that?
Yeah.
Blaze, do you see it? Does that make sense to you, how that's the same as this? Is that, everybody? Okay. Yes. Zubin.
What I kind of think about, like a negative sign to me basically means like turn around like all the way behind you to the left. So like even if you're going that way, like if there's a negative sign, you just turn all the way around
Okay.
and go back.
Right.
So if there's two negatives, it's like you just like go
Oh, yeah.
backwards.
Oh,
and
that's
then you turn
interesting.
again.
That's interesting. So, like, if you're going this way and you get it suddenly a negative, you turn this way, right? But if you get two negatives, you're going this way first, then you get a negative, and then you get a negative, so it becomes positive again. That's great! I've never thought of it that way. That's really awesome. Yes, Sachi.
How I think of like subtracting a negative from a negative, it's like you're taking away negatives. So like if you have like a negative like 5 in your bank account and you put money in, then you're taking away like you're
Oh, very
taking
interesting.
away from
Yeah,
the negative.
very interesting. That's great. You guys are brilliant. You guys are brilliant. This is so cool. So,
What I think, guys,
Yeah.
I have a comment. Hi.
yeah.
As I hear people make these comments about positive and negatives, what I'm noticing is that I'm hearing a lot of people say things like, the way I see them, or the way I think about them, right? Because they are kind of tricky, and your mind does have to start like kind of grappling with that. Like, how can I think about these in a way that helps them make sense to me, right? So those things that people just share, or the more you know these, the more you want to kind of figure out, is there a way that I can approach these, right? Because I have my way too. I totally think of positive and negative integers in a certain way, right? But try to grapple with that concept of like, how do I think about these? Do I understand the way I'm thinking about them, right? Because the number line is great, but of course, pretty soon, right, Gary, the number line is going to go.
It's yeah. It gets in your way. You know what I mean? You need another method because you're dealing with bigger numbers, and you don't want to spend all your time drawing the number line. So, you've already identified a lot of the things that we're going to discuss, tomorrow in part 2. So I applaud you. It's fabulous. It's awesome. But everybody, fist to 5. You feel comfortable with what I've discussed so far, right? Any questions at all? Any, in terms of this? Is it a question or a comment?
This is kind of on the two negatives.
Okay, go ahead.
What kind of helped me remember that
Mhm.
is like, let's say you're saying something in English, but like, this party is not fun. So it is not fun, or it's not fun.
It's
So
not.
it is fun, right?
It's not.
It is not fun, meaning it is fun. And they will do that, to be honest, actually, it's interesting you bring that up. They will put that kind of a question with they call that a double negative question. And they will put something like that on the SAT. And when you say it is not something, or it is definitely not never, it's never not this, whatever, all those negatives, right? You have to then realize, oh wait, that means you have to flip it around. Remember, a negative times negative equals positive.
Using words
It's-
that mean something
it's
else.
yeah,
when it
exactly.
really means something.
And they sometimes do that to make you think, try to trip you a little bit, make you stop instead of just kind of going on like a robot.
It means
You know,
the
I got to
opposite.
think now, right? Yell it. This?
-1.
Negative 1.
All right, what I'm going to do, so here's what I do. Okay, guys, listen. Here we go. -2 and -3. -2 and -3 is -5. -5 plus 4. -5 plus 4 is -1. Right? -1. All right, good job. Thank you so much. Okay, I think I'm going to end the lecture now and say bye.